Hi, everyone. My name is Ray Thomas. I'm a senior recruiter here at AWS, supporting our national security teams. And I'm here today with Gabe, who's one of the hiring managers that I support. And he's focused more on the security side, but we're going to be talking about delivery consultants. And this is something that's high priority right now. And we know you have multiple roles. So we want to dive into that. But before we do so, why don't you give us a quick introduction into yourself, Gabe?
Yeah, thanks, Ray, and hello, Internet. My name is Gabriel Leaks. Everyone calls me Gabe. I am a native New Yorker from Washington Heights, and yes, Lin-Manuel did make a musical about me. If you haven't seen it, or my neighborhood, if you haven't seen it, please go see it. It's great. It's amazing. Grew up in Washington Heights. Went to school for computer science, and thankfully, have had a fun, distinguished career in cybersecurity from federal service, which I ultimately loved so much, to contracting, standing up the first VMware clusters for some of our nascent government customers, to standing up security teams and just solving really tough security problems. Uh, Got an opportunity to become a CTO for a very small consulting firm where we ended up building a wonderful product that solved a really hard problem for some of our customers. Then moved on to becoming a VP for a medium-sized company where we did something very similar, and then had the fortunate ability to come to AWS almost 4 years ago and lead the men and women here at our professional services public sector team.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Talking about professional services, where does that come into play in the sales cycle with a customer?
Yeah, so just think about it. Your car needs work, and you're going to call a mechanic eventually when there's a tough problem because you don't have the expertise. Very similar professional services. Has over 200 services, and you have very custom specific needs. You want experts to roll in to be able to enable that for you, and so that's what we do. When you have a hard problem, you call AWS ProServe, and we'll come in, help you diagnose what the core issue is, help solve those issues, and in particular, my team will help give you the security solutions around that, and either add to your existing enterprise security on top of that.
Excellent. So let's dive into that function, that role itself, the delivery consultant, security. So we always say delivery consultants, DevOps. So yours is on the security side. Let's
Yep.
dive into the functional role of the delivery consultant. What does it look like for them day to day? And then where does the security piece come in?
Yeah, so delivery consultants are Swiss Army knives. They get deployed. They learn all the fundamentals and know the fundamentals of how to really get the maximum use and applicability out of the cloud. It's a toolbox, and you learn how to use those tools effectively to solve really hard problems for our customers. Security in that role adds an additional dimension to it. We do two things, and do two things very well. One is enable the security of the engagements we're deploying into. So the men and women that are running into those teams, how can we make sure they have the right pipelines and right security and the right optics on risk and managing that risk? And then secondly, we're building and deploying solutions on top of that. So if you really have a hard security problem, or really need to get one of our security services to perform in a very specific way for custom use, that's where we roll in as well and enable those.
Excellent. So let's talk about the security background these potential candidates would need, right? So walk me through like their career, for example, like what would they have done earlier on, and where are they now?
If you broke toasters because you're trying to figure out how they worked, that's a really good place to start. We're looking for very curious people. I always say to my people, to secure something, you have to start at understanding how it works. Then you have to understand how to break it, and then you now understand how to secure it. Because fundamentally, security is avoiding the breaking of things that are valuable and dear to you and your customers. And so that built-in curiosity, a deep level learning. So looking for someone who's either had academic schooling or hands-on schooling on how to build things in software, how to touch command lines, how to call APIs and make things dance with Python, tends to be people who do really well because they're curious and they can make and interact with technology in such a way to get outcomes that they desire. You should have a very strong fundamentals on what security is beyond the keep bad things from happening. How do you think about threats? How do you think about attack vectors? How do you think about hardening environments to protect those issues? You're curious about configurations and how those configurations may do the opposite of what they're intended to do, and how do you shore those up. And it's really just a deep mind for finding how to break things and how to fix those breaks, and then apply solutions around that to prevent that for our customers.
Got it. So you mentioned like Python and scripting, things of that nature. Do they need to have like a pure software development background within security, or did they just know some coding, like you said, to make things work?
Yeah, I want you to be comfortable when you look at Python and your eyes don't roll back and it breaks. But I'm not looking for a software developer. I'm really looking for someone that when they need to solve a problem, they can pick up Python to help solve that problem.
Got it. Makes a lot of sense. Okay. Let's talk about leveling, because the one thing that I always talk about with candidates is it's not apples to apples when it comes to leveling. Usually because of the level that we operate in, it's usually at a much larger scale than most other companies.
Yep.
So usually I've seen, like, for example, solution architects, like a principal SA. This is an individual contributor role here, but the person that fit that role, they were a people leader with maybe hundreds of people and running, owning the whole technology for a major corporation, right? So,
yeah.
So with that said, talk to me about the difference between what a delivery consultant does and a senior delivery consultant. Talk about those two.
So the way I like to think about it is delivery consultant in and of themselves are capable and competent in the solving a problem. So they can go off and be pointed in their direction, and there's confidence that they'll be able to do it with minimal assistance, or hey, I don't understand this, or I need to learn this. They probably don't fully understand the context of the complexity your customer asks all the time and need help with that. And they sometimes need help with gaps in how they deal with narrative conversations or with just very complex situations. Senior is more so able to be just pointed in direction, and they either find the problems that need to be solved before the customer does or we do, or they can forecast and just enable. I love to say that there's a gravity that gets introduced as you get more senior, that you're able to influence the team and move the team in ways that are more beneficial and to avoid things. And so as you roll up in your technical skills, so you're going from a very strong 250 to 300 level skills as a delivery consultant, you're starting to touch the 350 to 400 skills, maybe having some niche skills expertise that you build on for future roles. But you're strong and competent in some areas. You're comfortable learning very well and very fast. And you more importantly, you can ask for help in both roles. Like, hey, this is a weird problem, but I know Jan and Sue do something similar. You're able to bring them into a room, solution a problem out, and then execute on that without asking for a manager to come in and put you all together.
Got it. So from what I heard at the senior level, they're thinking more strategically. They're looking around the corner for customers, preventing things, right? And they handle a whole different level of complexity altogether. There's a lot of ambiguity that they know how to navigate through. And that's where the experience comes in, right? So the amount of years experience, that's what takes time. So great. Now let's talk about, since we're supporting government customers, any kind of security clearance needed? What's the minimum requirements? Does it have to be a U.S. citizen? What's the story there?
Yeah, so obviously we're supporting their very important missions here, and so U.S. citizenship is required. Clearances are required. As you get into the recruiting process, we'll get into specifics on what those clearance requirements are. But extensively, we will be supporting a wide swath of our government customers and their needs, and we'll need to be able to support those with those clearances.
Got it. Excellent. So let's talk about you, right? So I think people don't leave companies, they leave managers, as they always say, right? So I'd love to get to know a little bit about your management style and how do you develop high caliber talent to grow even more, because we already hire bar raising talent, right?
Yep.
How do you take them to the next level? What's your style?
That is the one thing I love so much about this position is seeing and growing the future leaders and the future engineers that will solve future problems that I can't even imagine. You're always there to build a space where they can fail successfully and learn from those failures. Leader really is enabling the environment for individuals to grow, and you do that in multiple ways. One, giving them the safety to make mistakes and feel like they're protected and you have their back. Secondly, you're giving them the opportunity to iterate. You give them very open and honest and transparent feedback. Hey, that wasn't your best work. Here's my notes on that. But always coming from a place where it's intended for growth and intended to enable. I always tell my people that if you are here with me 6 months, 10 years, if you are better off with us together and growing and in this position, I've done my job, no matter what other metric we may use. Your career is stronger, you're a better person, you're a stronger security consultant. And so ultimately, it's really, how can I find the places you have growth in? What are your superpowers that I want to sort of double tap on and give you more opportunity to solve harder problems with those superpowers? And then try to connect with future networks of people here that can just find and grow you in ways that are important to you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, and love hearing that. I think a lot of people would love to have that type of leadership with them. They feel comfortable and they could see that their manager is genuinely invested in their growth. When we hire, one of the key leadership principles that we index on for people managers is hire and develop the best. So it's not just about hiring talent; it's like
No.
developing the best.
Yeah.
They're already the best. How do you develop them even further? So,
Yeah.
so I'm glad you shared that. Now let's talk about like the talent that we hire. They're always quote unquote raising the bar. We look for people that are better than 50% of the population already doing that role at that level, right?
Mhm.
Why should someone that's already doing incredibly well in their company stop and actually listen to this and consider an opportunity here? What would be the difference here?
There's always going to be a problem at scale, whatever company you're at right now. There's very few companies that operate at the 1.6 million person problems that Amazon moves at. Um, you are always gonna, if you're listening to this and you're a big fish in a small pond and are struggling to figure out how you grow your skills, Amazon's the right place for you. You are going to be in a room where you're no longer the smartest person in the room, and you should celebrate that. Because I walk in and I'm like, there's a senior principal engineer who works on a very specific piece of technology that I barely understand, and I can get to talk to her and understand more about that space than I've ever had before. It is a place where you learn to scale your design and thinking. And for security engineers and consultants, there's no place better where you can learn to solve problems that are only possible in the cloud and at scale. I came here because I was really good at security, and now I want it to be better. And if that's really what you're looking for, your next step in your career, you're in a contract that is just at its ceiling or it's about to expire, and you're looking for, hey, how do I learn more? How do I get those skills that no one else in this contract or this company gives me? That's where AWS shines.
That's excellent to hear. And what I want to do, just to make sure that it's working, is I'm going to throw up a QR code on the screen for people to take a look at all the open recs that we have within the cleared space. So here we go. I'm going to throw it up. It's right on the top right over there. So I'll keep that up while we wrap this up. So one of the other questions that I'd love to touch on, get your perspective is, what are the differences of working at AWS versus a government agency, and what keeps you here?
Um, it's the speed and the pace. I don't do the same thing I used to do 3 months ago, or 6 months ago, or 4 years ago. The way we think about problems, the way we try to solve for our customers, the way technology is changing how we think and push to solve those problems iterates much faster than you can in a government contract space. if any of you are sitting there and you're sitting on an ATO package that's taking 12 months to get through, and that one Nessa scan is still driving you crazy, or they're asking you to install AV on a Lambda, you know the pain, and we move really fast so we can enable that kind of enable more success for those customers. We provide an environment where we can think big and show iteration to a workforce that is also trying to think big and iterate faster. And how can we bring our knowledge to bear to help them make better decisions and enable them to get to the goals they want? And so you're going to get optics on how a technology company and a product company sort of imbues that into a government space and cover government customers. And you're going to see a wide range of different customers in those spaces that have very specific, unique problems that you'll never see anywhere else. And so those two combinations of, hey, let's unlock the best version of the cloud for you. And then two, how do we give you the training and the certifications and the environment to unlock additional value that may not be monetary, just that your people are more enabled, that they're more secure, they can touch more difficult problems now because AWS has helped them.
Excellent. And lastly, are you still having fun here?
Yes. I have the distinct pleasure of leading a bunch of men and women that we were just talking about some anime we were just interested in looking at, or some movie selections, or just like hard nerdy security problems. Like, hey, this is a weird edge case. Policy doesn't make sense. Our tools don't really hit that. Where do we need to meet? And so combined with that, and combined with people who challenge me to be a better security leader and a better security executive, and then all the lessons I still have to learn because I am unfinished and need leaders and mentors in my life to guide me. And all of that just keeps me busy. I always wake up saying, hey, what else can I do for my people and help them be better? And it shows. The relationships I've forged over the last couple of years make it very easy for me to reach out to someone like, hey, I don't understand this problem. Can you help me with this problem? It's very natural and easy for me. So yeah, I'm here. I'm so happy I'm here. I'm happy I'll be here for many years to come.
Awesome. And thank you for that. So we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank you, Gabe, for this great conversation. I know we dove into what a DC is, delivery consultant is, the various levels. And while we spoke about security for Gabe's team, there are delivery consultant roles for other backgrounds as well. So wherever we post this, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube, there will be links to all the different types of roles for you to consider. So whether you are on social or you are purposely hidden from social, I hope you capture this video and get inspired to take a look.
Yeah, right? Thank you so much. Looking for great talent. Reach out.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.